pull up my checklist.
All right, cool. So Tony, yeah, if you see anything on that checklist that you want to kind of dive into, anything that jumps out, we can definitely dive into it. And Dr. Laura, you as well.
Well, one of the things that's been interesting, do you know who Rich Sheffrin is?
No, I don't.
Okay, so I used to write copy for Rich like 20 something years ago, and he is now like the guru to the gurus. He is, one of the guys that consulted with Russell Brunson before he was, before ClickFunnels really took off, and so many others. And I had a call with him a few weeks ago because I reached out to him and I said, Rich, I'm like super frustrated right now in my business and I feel stuck and I need some clarity. So we've talked briefly at seminars, over the last few years. I haven't written anything for him for a while, but anyway, my point, he was like, Tony, he's like, you kind of disappeared from the circle for like a long time. He goes, I don't know that I would even recognize anything that you wrote nowadays. What are you known for? And I explained to him, like what happened, why I disappeared, because I pulled back from my brother's company to go raise my kids and all that other stuff. And he says, you got this copy Avengers thing going on and that's really cool and everything. But he goes, I get the sense that you're like not 100% in. And he goes, even with the Tony Stark thing, he's like, I get that that's like really your name and that's cool and all. He goes, I'm not even a Marvel movie fan, so I know very little about any of that stuff. He goes, Tony's got like cool technology and a cool suit or something. He's like half human, half machine. I'm like, well, no, that's not quite it. I won't hold that against you, the fact that you don't know Marvel, but it made me start to think like, I've got kind of this novelty thing going on. And so what am I getting to? Why am I giving you all this background? Is because you look at the very first question, clarity on your business idea and who you serve. Man, I'm really great at doing that for other people, right? Like I dig in and I look at my clients and I do the research and I can figure that out. But when it comes to me, I don't know if it is just this, a sense of like not promoting myself or paying much attention to myself because of my walk with God and how I like try to see others as more important than me, or what it is. But I'm thinking, I don't even know, so that's a very interesting one for me right there. Is just clarity on my business idea and who you'd serve. So I thought about it, and like, initially when I positioned the Avengers team, our focus was coaches, authors, and experts, right? But that's still very broad. It's not really nailed in. So defining my ideal client, the second one on your list, and understanding what they want. These are all things that I am now, since my talk with Rich, it's been 3 weeks now, in my free time, thinking about and, really asking questions about, trying to figure this out and drill down, because my goal for 2022 is to really launch myself and my brand out there and become well-known and an authority in the space. Also, do you know the Benham brothers? Either one of you? Okay. So the Benham brothers are, they're a couple twin brothers who, they wrote the book called Expert Ownership, and they're really, hardcore Christian guys.
Mhm.
And that kind of leads everything that they do. And I bought their book 6 months ago and I signed up for their coaching program. Inadvertently, it was just an upsell and I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. You know, I do that all the time. Start seeing things in my credit card statement. I'm like, what am I paying $399 for? What am I paying this for? But anyway, they're great. I actually love them. I love what they're doing, and it's made me think an awful lot about, you know, how do I want my business to be a representation of presenting, you know, faith in my work. So I'm
Mm.
trying to integrate all that stuff together.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have taken this much time to yak if there weren't just like three of us on this Zoom call. So I appreciate you guys being patient and listening to me.
This is
But
awesome.
I'm trying to figure all that stuff out. And you know, as I move forward into 2022 into this next phase of my life, I want to look at how can I make a really strong impact. And Jordan, you have some insights into what I believe from a faith standpoint and how that differs from a lot of mainstream
Mhm.
stuff. And that's really big on my heart too, is, you know, how can I present myself in a way that not only edifies and encourages people and helps me set myself apart, but also maybe gets people to ask questions and get
Yeah.
involved in some of the other stuff that I'm doing.
Mhm.
So
Cool. Can I ask you some questions?
after I talked that long, I hope so. I hope you have some questions to ask me.
I do, man. No, this is awesome. Like, well, for one, I totally know what it feels like to not have that clarity, and then know what it feels like to gain the clarity. Um, and it's all related, and it's totally, you know, it's the foundation, right? Because, you know, like what you said with Rich, he was like, you don't seem super connected to this. And so I want to ask you, uh, who do you feel like the Father has given you a heart for specifically in this?
People that don't have any money.
Whoa. Okay. I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
Tell me about that more.
People that are struggling with addictions and um, you know, life problems and mental blocks and spiritual blocks, and you know, where they're stuck in a cycle of self-defeating behavior and have a incorrect perception of who they are. People
Mm.
that feel stuck in um, and may not even know that their thinking is contributing to them being stuck, or their belief system is contributing to being stuck. But like I tend to I constantly have people coming into my life that really need good counsel. And
Mm.
then on the other side of that is I have people that are kind of off in the whole like really woo woo spectrum of spirituality
Mm.
coming to me for help. And that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not answering your question, Jordan. Let me
No,
try again.
you are. You're doing fine.
Um, I don't have clarity on that. That's the honest answer. I don't know.
All right. Well, tell me then, who do you think about all the time? Who do you have compassion for if, you know, if you saw them in person and you just wanted to, like, you would do anything to help them?
Well, I tell you what, the thing that really gets me fired up is anybody that's the underdog,
Ooh.
anybody that is oppressed. Um, you know, some of the causes that I support, like Exodus Road for sex trafficking and you know, organizations that are helping persecuted people. Um, but like any underdog.
Okay. What about that fires you up?
I believe that it goes back to how I felt as a kid when I felt powerless and picked on.
Hmm.
You know, like my mom died when I was 8, and it really just shook my whole foundation.
Oh my goodness.
You know, my confidence, like
Huh.
everything. I was depressed for a long time. I couldn't understand it. And you know, during that time, um, I attribute a lot of things that happened in my life. Like I couldn't focus in school for probably 6 to 8 months. I don't know, maybe a year, and um, struggle with that. And you know, like I was teased an awful lot because I moped around, and people. I just got, you know, I got picked on and pushed around and bullied. Um, so yeah, I don't know if that's what it is, but like I can't stand seeing someone get picked on or pushed around. And like I raised my kids to rally against that stuff. And I've actually gotten myself into, you know, some very tenuous situations as an adult by stepping into situations and opening my mouth where you know, others might have just walked by. But
Hmm.
I just think it goes back to, you know, something I experienced as a kid, and I
Yeah.
carry that with me.
Yeah. So what does that look like for the person that is, running their own thing, running their business or in business? What does that look like for them? What's it show up as?
It's a really good question. What does that show up as? Um, I don't know. I mean, the example that came to my mind right now is I think about the small businesses that have been squashed because of, you know, mandates and edicts and things, you know,
Mm.
like that from, you know, national and local government
Oh,
restrictions,
dude.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those people are the ones that are, you know, that have been suffering, the small business guy. And
Oh my goodness.
um, that's the the only thing that comes to mind. Who else would be oppressed?
Okay.
Um, you know, maybe certain ethnic or minority groups. Um, I don't know enough about that to say whether or not there's a
Yeah.
specific segment.
Who is their bully? The small business.
Who is what?
Who is their bully? The small businesses. Who's their bully?
um, Government, big government, and big business.
And if you were to lend out your hand to help them, what would you do?
I would teach them the power of direct response marketing and setting themselves apart with direct response marketing techniques and direct response copywriting, emotional direct response copywriting. That's what I would do. Kind of guerrilla marketing techniques, you know?
Oh, yeah. Tony, you're one of the most creative, brilliant minds I've ever met. I'm
Hmm.
serious. The concepts that you come up with are so unique. And like you said, guerrilla marketing, like it makes me think like, here's what the thought came to my mind. The Revolutionary War was won by what? Guerrilla warfare, when they went into the woods and they did not prescribe to some protocol like
British, yeah.
the British did, how they had to march in lines and uniform and everything like that and stay in cadence. They were hiding in the woods and they crushed them in that regard. But when they had to line up straight across from them, they got demolished. And talk about, with what you're saying here, this injustice that's been done to these small businesses who, like us, have poured our hearts into what we're doing here and are facing, we're seeing other people, businesses closing, the mom and pop shops, the brick and mortars, like how they're struggling, how they don't have staff, how they're just like, my heart breaks for them too. And so if you teach them the power of setting themselves apart and the power of direct response marketing with your creative concepts, they can literally go from I'm about to close my doors to prospering in a market.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I've spent so much time in the past 15 years working for the gurus that I've forgotten all about. I cut my teeth, my brother and I cut my teeth in this business helping the independent operator, the small business guy.
Oh man.
That's where my roots are.
Yeah.
I just need to go back to that.
Okay.
Great insight.
Dude, it's all there already, right? Okay. So I want to tie it into something else that you said, was the person that has no money, that can't afford it right now. So can these people afford your current services?
Probably not.
Okay. So what could they afford?
They could afford a group teaching. They could afford a do it yourself sort of guided course. And that's kind of really what I wanted to actually put together this year. I say last year, but it's still 2021.
Yeah, Dr. Laura said a 3-day launch challenge that's free.
Yeah. I'm working on, remember I shared with you that my go cards thing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually working on a marketing course for their members, which will be something that they can access in the back office for a monthly fee. So might as well, while I'm creating that, see if I can create something that could be repurposed or used it's actually, I'm kind of targeting it for all businesses. So small business owners, direct response or direct sales individuals, network marketers, service personnel, insurance, just small business people. So I could do that. And a 3-day launch would be a great way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Take the foundational material of the course that you're working on and give that for free. Tons of value. Show them, how to, like, where to even begin with this. you know, and what they can do, give them some strategy behind it. And, you know, that leads right into there.
Heck, most of that stuff is already done in the course that my brother and I put together years ago.
So you already have something right now then.
Yeah.
So how long, if you were to go back to, you know, the course that you and your brother already have, and, you know, just regroup it a little bit or reformat or reorganize it, how long would that take you to get that ready for somebody?
Probably 60 to 90 days with my current insane schedule.
Cool.
I'm pushing to put something together in, you know, in 30 days for my go-karts for Bo. I did a 2-hour teaching last Friday for the people there, and that was very well received.
Sweet.
It's amazing too, because, you know, I sometimes I really don't know what I know until I get on a call with people and they start asking me questions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
I
start throwing out solutions, right? And I surprise myself. I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Most of the time I walk around going, did I forget it? Do I know anything? Did I learn anything? I've been doing this how many years? Like, let's see, 1991. Gosh, what do I know? You know? And then people start asking me things and it comes out. So yeah.
What's easy to you is really hard for other people.
Right.
Because you're so close to it. It's so natural to you now that when another person that has no context behind it looks at something and they're like, I have no idea where to begin, you know, you've got that answer.
Right.
It's already. Cool.
Okay. That's good. Plenty to chew on there. Thank you.
Yeah. Was that helpful?
Incredibly. Yeah. Let's hear
Sweet.
from Dr. Laura. See what she thinks about all this nonsense. Not nonsense, but, you know, the things on the list, like what ideas do you have about that, looking at that?
Gee, what I am getting into right now is preparing seminars and retreats for next spring. I know who my avatar, my client is. I'm a B2B. So I help other people take their idea from, I have an idea to start a business, to actually having that business and having it up and running and all of that. I do the same exact thing that you were saying when it comes to when I get on like my free strategy calls that I give them. They'll ask me questions that when I'm done with that call, I go, wow, I don't remember that I knew that, you know, because it's automatic.
Yeah.
You know, so actually making yourself every once in a while go back to your, why am I doing this? You know, how did I feel when I had to first start my first nonprofit? And the struggle I went through and the cost I went through to remind myself of that emotional tug, that helps me to reconnect with my target market. You know, a lot of times, if you've been doing this for a lot of years, you forget that. And you have to be reminded every once in a while of your actual emotional tolls that will remind you of who you're doing this for. My businesses are, okay, my tagline is structuring organizations his way. So everybody knows right up front that this is a Christian business. I have many clients that are not Christians, but because of the articles that I've put out, like on LinkedIn and everything else, they come and look for me because of the value system that I have. And that gives me the opportunity to show them his non-judgmental acceptance.
Mhm.
And I've actually been very fortunate in being able to bring a couple of people to know him even better
Awesome.
over this last year. And it simply was because I don't browbeat them. It is there. It is evident. It's right there. Nobody can mistake it, but I don't push it. I don't, you know, and I have people that come to me. I had a Muslim woman that came to me needing my expertise in starting a nonprofit. And about 3 months into the coaching, she came and she's like, look, I don't have my homework done. I don't have anything done, but I want to talk to you. And how the conversation rolled out, she ended up coming to know the Lord, and she is her business literally just picked up and went boom, you know, and it was simply because I don't do it in a judgmental way, and I don't do it, you know, browbeating them with scriptures, or it's just evident in everything I do.
Mhm.
But my issue, which Jordan knows that I've had this issue off and on, is, and it sounds weird, I've done this for over 20 years, fear of success.
Yeah, I get that.
You get to a level and your mind says, oh yeah, I want to do this now. I want to be able to grow my business. But there's that little voice in there that, because of childhood beliefs or whatever, that
Mm.
tells you you're not going to be a Tony Robinson. You're not going to be, you know, whoever. You'll never reach that level.
Mm.
But I have the information and the skills to give to these people. And my fear is that if I put my funnel together and put it out there to do the seminars, to do a retreat, nobody will show up,
Mm.
because I've had that happen in the past.
Yeah.
So that's where my wall is.
Yeah, I get that. I know what that feels like. Where you put your heart into something and no one shows up to it. You know, I get that. So if you were to allow grace into that and just say, hey, what happened simply just happened, and you allowed grace for what that was, what does that open up for you in the future?
Wow. You know, a lot of times I have to remind myself of what I tell my clients. I was just telling one yesterday that she needed to stop living in the past and stop looking at all of the, well, this didn't happen. Well, I tried this and this didn't happen, you know, and look at today. What can you create today that will keep you from having that negative feeling tomorrow? You know, is it stopping me from creating all this stuff? No. I've created courses, I've created the whole seminars and the retreats and all of that. I have them all written down,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't pushed them out there. I haven't, and that's what I was thinking about this morning, is like, well, why not?
Yeah.
You know, and the whole reason that my brain can come up with is the fact that, well, the last time you tried to do this, you had a lot of people like it, a lot of people share it, but nobody showed up. Last year, last September, and granted, it was a COVID year. I put out for a retreat. And I had a lot of people all over my social media saying, yeah, this is great. I'm really interested. But nobody ever went and registered. I actually lost money because I had to pay them the upfront to hold the rooms. And then, we ended up canceling the whole retreat.
Hmm.
Financially, I can't do that. I can't just keep doing that. So
Mm.
I'm afraid that if I put it all out there again, the
Mhm.
same thing will happen.
Okay. So what if there was a different way that you did this retreat that was less expensive and you had zero expectation on it, just like the first time? And no expectation of how many people would show up, how many people wouldn't show up, but you just put nothing on it, no meaning behind, what success looks like when you hit a certain number of people. What would that look like?
First thing that comes to mind is looks like failure. Because I want to help all these people. They need the guidance. There is not a lot of people or Christian business owners out there that are willing to teach someone how to incorporate their faith into their business. There's not a lot of them out there that have experienced the creating a nonprofit from your own bootstraps kind of thing, that have struggled with all of that high cost and everything else. And there's not a lot of information out there that's available for how to do it. So to me, that would be, not me. It's not me personally failing. It's the opportunities that are missed by the other people.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to rearrange all of this in my head today and talking with the place where I was going to have the retreat. And what we had discussed was that I would give my seminar for free. They would have to pay for their room and their food and all of that, instead of me putting a price on it and saying, okay, everything's inclusive. That way, if they come and if they register, they're paying for their own room, their meals, whatever, but they get a free seminar.
Mm-hmm.
In exchange, of course, I get the use of the room, the conference room, and all of that. And they're actually going to give it to me for free, providing they get enough people to come and, get a room.
Right.
So I thought maybe that might be a better way for me to get my feet wet.
Can you only do what you do like in a room with the people, like physically there?
No, I can do it online. I can do it on Zoom. I can, do it virtually. That's not an issue. I like to see their face. But again, if you're doing it on Zoom, you can see their face most of the time. So I don't mind doing it that way if that's the way it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody shows up.
Nobody?
The only people I have gotten to do this is the exact same 3 people every single time for the last 2 years. And that's simply because they're coming to support me.
Okay.
But it's like, well, they're not interested in what I'm saying. They're not starting a business of their own. They're not doing anything that I'm trying to teach them. So what's the point? And that's pretty much the wall where I'm at, is I know I have good material. I know that it's out there. And when I do get clients that come to me and ask me for stuff, 99% of the time, they sign up for my consulting. Because even with the free strategy call, they realize that I can give them what they're looking for.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's the same 3 people showing up every single time, where are the other people at that you would love to be on the call?
Still sitting there stressing and trying to figure out how to do what I have the information to give them.
Yeah, absolutely. Where
We're
are they?
not connecting.
Okay. How do you connect
And
them?
I don't know, maybe it's my marketing, maybe it's my funnel, maybe it's probably my webpage for sure. I am not, as you know, I am not an IT person at all. I'm not connecting with them because my marketing isn't getting to my target market.
Okay. So where's your target market at online?
Everywhere. I know that's like the wrong thing to say, but they are in meetup groups. They are in LinkedIn. They're in Alignable, not so much on Facebook. But I get a lot of the other ones that, read all my blogs, read all my stuff. They tell me that I should start a podcast. But if they're not going to become clients, all I'm doing is giving away free information. And that's not going to make my business grow.
Okay. So can I explain kind of the process of marketing?
Please.
So marketing in sequence only has 8 stages. The first stage is awareness. They don't know who you are, and somehow they become aware of you. And then they begin engaging with you. And then they subscribe to like your email list. Then they can convert into a customer at that point. They get excited, they ascend into your higher ticket items like your consulting. Then they're willing to actually give you a testimonial and then even promote you, referrals and affiliate, that kind of stuff. So that's 8 stages right there. If you go straight to, you're just trying to get the sale, not only is your heart wrong in that, but it's also way out of whack and form a relationship. And so when you meet somebody for the first time ever, you shake hands, you make eye contact, you start talking, relationship builds.
Mhm.
So creating content is that place for people, is hey, here's some quick tips, here's some different things, even if it was as low tech as doing something like what I'm doing here. I didn't even put together a funnel page. I actually challenged myself to how easily can I do this? And all I did was a Zoom link. And, so it's just us connecting on here. So can you put together even something as simple as that and just, have a little tiny workshop, but to find those people, you mentioned, well, they're in groups somewhere out there. They're on LinkedIn somewhere out there, they're already there. It's just a matter of how do they become aware of who you are? And that's the purpose of content, is that they are, beginning to know who you are. They're beginning to like you. They're beginning to trust you. So going out into these different groups that have your people in there, it's everywhere on Facebook. I mean, the groups are everywhere. You just search small business owners, and whoever it is that you're looking for, and you go into those groups and you start adding value, and those people start to come into your world a little bit, and compile that with a lead magnet like you talked about with your funnel. and put it out on your Facebook profile and the little bio that's on there. Now you're adding them to the next stage in the marketing level. And so if you're talking to the same people all the time that aren't even interested in really like working with you, it just feels like a stagnant pond where you're just like, yeah, you're just like, this feels like this, like you have this deep burning desire in you to help these people, but those aren't even the people that really actually care for your help enough to actually exchange money for your help.
Exactly.
So it seems like if you were to audit your marketing process, it looks like it's just the first few stages right there. It's just in awareness.
Well,
And the rest of everything that you have, Dr. Laura, is awesome. I mean,
I have an email list. I have people that have signed up for my monthly newsletter.
yeah.
And I have people that every time they comment and they share the blog articles that I put on the LinkedIn and all of that, there's interaction there. There's people that will come to me and want the strategy calls and all of that. But that's where it stops. They say, oh, send me the information for your consulting, how much it costs, and what all's involved in the package. I definitely want your services. And then I never hear from them again.
Okay. So does it stop before the call happens?
No.
The call happens and then
the call happens. I give them a ton of, wonderful things, that they never even thought about for their business. And at the end of the calls, they are like a 12 out of 10. They are jumping out of their skin. They're going, oh, wow, I really want you to be my consultant. What do I got to do? How much is it going to cost? Yada, yada. And then they never take the next step.
Do you present it on the phone, the pricing on the call?
Yes, I have. And at other times I've tried, well, I'll email you all my packets, everything else, and you let me know. I mean, we'll get back together in a couple of days. I don't give them more than like 3 days. And then we set up another call, and they either don't show up to the call, or they just go, well, no, I can't do this. I can't afford it. And I'm going, look, I'm paying various mentors and coaches, $4,000 or $5,000 for a 4-month program. So for me to offer a 6-month or a 12-month program at what I'm offering, why are you not? I don't get, that's where the disconnect is coming from. They get plenty from me. I've done 3-day launches. I've done workshops. I'm actually getting ready to do another challenge the first week of January. And they all jump in. They're all excited. The groups are great. They do their homework, yada, yada. Come the 5th day when you do your presentation, nothing. So I'm like, how come everybody else can get clients doing this and nobody wants to bite? What is it? Where am I going wrong? Because there's got to be some kind of disconnect in there when I give this to them that's causing this.
Yeah, there's definitely a disconnect that's happening. So,
but I just can't seem to figure out what it is.
I would say like 9 times out of 10, if you send it in an email, say, hey, go sign up, they're not going to sign up. But doing it on the phone, like, hey man, are you ready? Are you really ready? If they understand the vision of what you are helping them to do, like that end result, that transformation that you are going to get them to, so that they get the hope and they really understand, like, wow, if she helps me out with this, like this is going to really take me to the next level. Structuring your offer to where it's super clear of what they are going to get. I like to break it up into like 4 steps, three steps. I'll kind of explain. Identify what their barriers are in 3 steps, 3 to 5 steps. If you can identify, like, first thing is, well, let's just walk through this. What's your first thing that somebody gets stuck in? First thing that comes to mind. What's the barrier that they hit?
The legal documentation and the confusion that it creates.
Okay. What's the second thing?
How do I get funding?
Okay. Third thing.
I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know, and I don't know how to run a business.
Okay.
You know,
I'm gonna-
they have their passion. They know their target market. They know what they want to do, but they don't know the background that's involved in actually running a business. And I can give them all of that. I've had coaches and mentors tell me that I'm too scholarly. You know, I have all this information and it's wonderful information, but it's the way that I'm not, that it's not good information or how I'm presenting it. It's somewhere there's a drop in the communications because I do it at, it's like trying to give a master's degree course to a high school student.
Gotcha.
That's exactly how it's been explained to me that my approach is, because I have so much information and it's
Yeah.
at such a high level.
This is awesome, because when you have a lot of information to give, sometimes that's the thing that kills the sale, is because you give so much information that their brain just goes, I don't even know where we're going with this right now. Your brain just gets overcome. What I'm about to show you is what took me from selling a $3,500 package to a $30,000 package. Same offer. It's just how I structured it. It's just different. It's more, we want to structure an offer so that it's super simple for them to understand. We're talking 10,000 foot view here. Okay. We're not, if you go into the details, if I tell you, Dr. Laura, that I'm going to build you a challenge funnel and there are 12 challenge pages, and on those pages, there's going to be, I'm going to install SMTP, and I'm going to install tracking code, and I'm going to have email automations with 4 different email series in there: a welcome series, a nurture series, a daily series, and a downsell series, and blah, 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 blah. And I go on and on and on. I'm going to update your SEO metadata, and I'm going to add images in there. And no, like if I go into that, it will confuse the crap out of you.
Yep. You lost me when you said it's going to have 12 pages. My brain went, oh no.
And
So,
so
yeah.
what is, when you start talking to your prospect on the phone and you start, because you know this information, you're really good at it, you're really close to it, and it can be your biggest downfall in this. So when you start going, oh, I can do this and this, like, here's what we're going to do, they just go, and they lose vision of what is happening here. So
Okay.
the first thing that you said was legal documentation. That's the first barrier that they hit, right? Well, I was pulling this document up and I missed the second thing that you said.
Funding.
Funding. Thank you. Okay, cool. So what's the overall goal, the overall vision that you're going to give these people right here? When they work with you afterwards, what do they experience?
That they will have their nonprofit up, functioning, and getting the income, you know, the funding and the grants and all of that involved. And they will learn all of the other little tidbits of how to actually own a business and what's all involved in running a business. And
Okay.
if they have to, the networking to outsource that stuff if they don't want to do it themselves.
Okay. So when someone has this innate desire in them to run a nonprofit business, what does that actually do? What does it mean to them to have a nonprofit business?
Most of the time, it's because they want to give back to the community.
Okay, cool. Awesome. We're getting there. This is shaping up. This is awesome. All right. So first thing is that they need legal documentation. These are our 3 barriers right here. Okay.
Mhm.
Then after they have these 3 things right here in place, what is the next problem that opens up for them? They've worked with you, right? Then what
How to
happens?
expand their business, how to take it to the next level.
And
How to
can you help them with
market,
that?
how to market their business.
Okay, can you help them with that?
To a minimal extent, because I am not a marketer, but I have enough networked people like you that I can say, hey, I know somebody that can do that. Let me connect you to this guy.
Okay. Well, here, you already said it. That's good, but I want it to come from you. You already said this is to outsource
Yes.
and become more hands-off. You know how to do that?
Mhm.
All right, awesome.
Yes.
So we have our offer. Let me lay this out for you. So when you're on a call with somebody and you've given them a ton of value and they're just like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. Thank you so much. You know, what's next? You say, cool. So here's how I can help you. You know, as a nonprofit, I'm going to help you go from you don't know how to set this thing up to getting a nonprofit up and running to where you're getting income through grants and you now have your own nonprofit business so that you can help those people in, you know, blank, whether it's, you know, sex trafficking or so that you can like reiterate that to them, what that thing is, because that's where they're connected at, right? They're
Mhm.
feeling it on an emotional response now. They're seeing it. They're seeing past this moment right now. They're starting to see into the future of, you know, of where you can take them to. And you say, here's how we're going to do this. The first step is that people have no idea about all the legal documentation that they have to go through. It's confusing. There's all this legal jargon. They don't really know what forms they need to fill out, how to create their nonprofit, which avenue to take. So I'm going to help you set up all the correct legal documentation. Then once that is set up, we're going to go through and discuss how to acquire funding, which grants are available to you right now that you can get in the next 30 days. 39, I don't know, made that part up, obviously. And then we're going to, once we have your funding secured, we're going to really step in how to run your business so that you can continue to help these people, reach these people that need your help. And as a bonus, once all of this is done, I'm going to even teach you how to outsource so much of this to where you can gain more time back and have this thing running on autopilot. How does that sound? And they say, that sounds really awesome. How much is that?
Yep.
It's
That's
this
where,
much.
yep, that's where it comes in. It says, well, how much is this going to cost? How am I going to do this? And because they're a nonprofit, the very first thing they say is, well, I don't have the money. I can't do this.
Okay, well then you're
That's
facing
where I lose.
objections at that point. But when you structure your offer like this, you just I understand what you do. Okay, because it's just boom, 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 super simple, and it tacks on this. You're showing them the results that you're going to give them in a 10,000-foot view. And I did not go into detail about, you know, all the different things that they need set up. It's just
Yeah.
that right there. And so, how much is it? Okay, it's this much. Then just let them feel that, and don't say anything. Just let them say, okay, whatever objection may come up, I don't have the money to do it. Okay, well, how long are you going to let this not happen? What would happen if you actually dove in and started doing this? Well, lives would get changed. Okay, awesome. In comparison, the price of this versus how many lives you can help, what's it worth to you? Well, it's worth everything. Okay. So really, this is a small investment compared to the world that you're about to change. All of that's done on the phone, not in a follow-up email.
Right.
Because then if you can communicate it super simply like that, they're going to be able to make that decision much faster. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, don't try to feed them with a fire hose.
No, not at all. There's no problem in giving a ton of value on the call. But then when it's time to discuss the offer of how you can actually help them, laying it out in a structure format like this, it's going to be super simple for them to get.
Okay, right.
That's the important part. Because if you hit them with a bunch of what we call like techno babble, what I babbled on for you when I said you're going to get these 12 pages and opt-ins and SMTP and all this stuff, that kills the sale. Because they're not going to know what that means to them. It's all about what it means to them.
Right.
Do you think you could do this? Try this with someone?
Yeah, I can definitely do it. I have a couple of phone calls coming up this afternoon
Right
with
on.
new prospects.
Cool. I'll send you this.
Yeah. All right. I can definitely try that. That's where my wall has been. And, I know that if they jump in and they do this, they won't regret it. And I know that they will get a lot of value out of it, but it's just a matter of getting them from the end of this phone call, which they are praising me about all the information that I just gave them, to actually signing up. That's where I lose it. So yeah, if I propose it this way, perhaps that'll work better.
Yeah. So there's, if they can't make a decision on the phone, like, hey, I got to talk to my spouse about this. Totally cool. Respect that, obviously.
Yep.
And then say, okay, cool. Let's, I've got time on Monday. Can we talk then? Sure. All right. Awesome. So now you've got another call on Monday and you're ready to go with like just following up. Like, it doesn't have to be super salesy or pushy or anything. It's just, let's put it right out.
Now, would I, if they are wanting a second strategy call, would I send them an email, a follow-up email, just basically outlining exactly what we have here, exactly
Yeah.
what was talked on the conversation and what they would get if?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they have something in writing to show
Mhm.
their spouse.
Sure. Yeah. So when I gave an offer for, running out a full-on challenge build or whatever, that's where I'm sending a proposal saying, here's everything included. Here's what we're going to do for you. And so that they understand. And I actually will break this up into stages like this. I'll say, legal documentation, and then I'll outline, we're going to set up your, 501c3,
C3.
and in your proposal to them saying, here's the detail of all of this. But when you're
Right.
first discussing it, they need to understand what's happening at a 10,000 foot view. with the vision of where you can take them. Otherwise, they're going to get so confused that they won't even know how to communicate it. The goal is that they understand it so well that they could communicate it to their spouse. If
That's what I was saying, because just for an example, the legal documentation,
Mhm.
there is 29 different types of 501c3s.
Yeah.
And when you tell them that, they're just like, oh, wow, which one do I pick? What do I do? And it's a massive amount of confusion.
So that's
So
actually,
I can break it down to where
yes,
we will find out which one you have, how to do
perfect. Yeah,
papers,
exactly. So when you're presenting that on the first, leg right here, this first phase, hey, first, phase one is we're going to help you choose a 501c3,
yeah.
because there's 29 of them, and trying to figure out which one is the right one for you is a nightmare. I'm going to work with you personally and make sure that you choose the right one. Like that in itself, if you build that problem into it and how you're immediately going to solve that problem, it's going to give them relief.
Okay. All right. So a follow-up email just to kind of reiterate what the phone call was about and the different suggestions I had made, and then putting in at the bottom what the offer is and how much they'll get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
Like
It's important for them.
Giving each one of these like 2 or 3 points.
Right. Right.
Okay.
It's important that the pain is greater than the cost of your offer.
Right. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not gonna, they have to be caught with their own vision. They have to understand that, like, oh wow, on the call, you're discovering what it is that they're really wanting and desiring. And so if you're not speaking that language to them, then otherwise all they see it as is, she's going to help me catch or create a 501c3, I think. But when it's connected to the vision of what they're truly desiring, then it's, we're speaking on levels of transformation there. That's a massive deal.
Okay. All right.
All right. Awesome. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes, that does. And that helps me to, put it in a visual for me to put out there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Dr. Laura, you also mentioned, like, you put something in the chat when I was talking about funding, grants available. Some of these people talk about they can't afford it. Do you know of grants that they could get that actually might help them get the money they need to fund this?
Yes, I do. And there is grants that are out there and available for companies that have not gotten their 501c3 yet. And there's actually grants right now that are out there for the for-profit world as well that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, well, that would be a great rebuttal to somebody with the I can't afford it thing.
Totally. Yeah.
It's just like, I understand that. And you know what? Part of what I do for my clients is show you where you can access grants to get the money you need to move forward. There's dozens and dozens and dozens of them, but you will spend 100 hours trying to find them on your own, but I can point you right to them. The thing when it comes to, like, you talked earlier about how you spend so much money on your consulting and stuff, and people don't care about that. They really don't. It's a nice thing for credibility. As, like, for example, when I'm talking to somebody or writing copy for one of my clients and they're selling them on some kind of a coaching program, and we refer to, champions have coaches, referring back to, the fact that I spend, $40,000 a year on my own self-education, or $100,000 a year, or whatever that number is just, I can speak from experience that this is something that continues to help me advance. So if you're not investing in yourself, the chances of you advancing, that's a great point. But just using that as a sales point right now, the people are so caught up in their own pain, they can't even see that. 3 reasons people don't buy from us is they don't trust us, they don't believe us, or they don't have the money. And if you can solve all of those, then there you remove the obstacle to buy.
Right.
Right. So trust comes with credibility, proof of what you've done, reassurance of what you're going to do for them. If they don't want it, then why are they even talking to you? Right. Like if they don't want it, I mean, like if I started doing a promotion for a feminine deodorant spray to a bunch of football players and I get pissed because they don't want it, it's my fault. I got the wrong target market.
Right.
But does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like really focus what Jordan has given you is gold. Like really, if you focus on what their pain points are and provide solutions to what is causing them pain and what is blocking them, then that will help get them over the edge to actually invest with you.
Right. Okay. It's like what he just wrote on there is that part of what I do for my clients is to help them find the grants, and half the time, well, it's not just the grants. It's the frustration that they have to go through to get there. It's the frustration of how do I write a grant proposal? How do I get, and
There you
I
go.
have that information
There you
that
go.
makes it available for them. That's that pain point that I can give this to you,
Yeah, I'll show you what 99% of all people wanting to start nonprofits don't know and will never find out about getting free money to launch their endeavor.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I'll tell you, the man's a copywriter.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, half the time is good if there's a reference to that, if they know what half the time is. If it's
Right.
1,000 hours and you can knock it down to 500, but if it's an ambiguous thing and they have no clue, first and foremost, that these things even exist,
Yeah.
then there's no context there. If they do know, that's powerful, but like really just sticking that knife in and be like, you're never going to find this out. Like you are literally never going to find this out, Joe. And how do I know? Because you won't do it. You won't put the work in. You'll get frustrated. You'll go on, you'll do Google searches. You'll come up with things. You'll see all these results. You'll get confused. You won't know what to do. Well, you don't have to worry about all that because I'm going to simplify it for you. Like I'll show you what 99% of all people interested in starting their own nonprofit don't know and will never find out about getting free money to fund their endeavor.
That's beautiful. That's perfect. Because it took me, if I didn't have the will and the stubbornness to keep pushing, I would have given up on my nonprofit, like 6 months in, because I didn't know and nobody told me where those connections were. It took me almost 2 years to go out there on my own to find out the costs and to find the connections and make the connections and all of that before I could even open my shelters. And meanwhile, I had veterans, constantly calling me going, "Ooh, do you have a shelter? Do you have this? We need this, we need that." And I had no clue how to do it, but that's what I want to give to them.
Do you tell
to
that story in
eliminate
your
the
marketing?
frustration. Yeah.
Do you tell that story in your marketing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that's
gotta go,
one
you
of
guys. I've got a
the-
call coming up in 15 minutes. And I need to prepare for that. So gosh, it's been great being with both of you today. Jordan, thanks for doing this. And
Yeah.
anyway, I do gotta run, but God bless you
Absolutely.
guys. Talk to you later, Jordan.
Tony, I'm excited you were on, man. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
Hope to
Yeah.
talk
Hey,
to you again sometime.
I've got something I can send you that'll help you flesh out your ideas a little bit more.
Okay, great.
Let
Thanks,
me show
guys.
you it to you real quick. I know you got to run, but let me just, this will help you. I can send you this. It's literally what we were talking about earlier. 3 steps to discover your own unique, meaningful business idea. I created this grid. It'll help you get a ton of clarity on, on this right here, getting really fleshed out on what we talked about with your small business owners and how to match that stuff up together. So this comes from my new course, the Business Creation Academy, and also Dr. Laura, what we just went through with the offer creation, that's part of the Business Creation Academy as well. So it's my new course, and it walks through building out this stellar foundation for your marketing, so that you can really get clear on who it is that you want to serve, how you can help them, and putting that together in a business with all the right messaging and offers and everything. So I'll send you guys this so you can take a look at this. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. Awesome,
It
guys.
was nice meeting you, Tony.
You too, Dr. Laura.
Awesome. Any insights from this today?
Ah, ton.
I got a lot. Yeah.
I gotta go though. I gotta go.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
I'm
brother.
so sorry. All right,
Yeah,
bye.
it's okay. All right.
How about you, Dr. Laura? Any insights?
Yeah, definitely. It just was like, I kept hitting that same wall, and I have so much that I want to give them, that it actually, when they, and I know it's not rejecting me, and a lot of times it literally is because they don't have the funding. It hurts me when they say, no, I can't afford this, I can't do this. And my heart goes, give it to them. Just give it to them for free. And my husband, who is the bookkeeper for the business, goes, no.
Yeah.
And he's right. I mean, like Tony said, I put out a lot every year
Yeah.
to continue my education, to continue my mentoring, because that's something that I realized this past year, especially with you and with Ron and with Steve and all of that. We all have to have our own coaches for
Oh.
various things,
Totally.
and this year I've actually invested in myself and in my business to get it to the point where everything is there, everything is laid out, everything is built. But the facade of, if you build it, they will come, is a lie.
Mhm.
Because it's
So
built and they ain't coming.
when your heart is saying give it to them for free, there is absolutely nothing wrong with giving them a piece of it for free. You know what I mean? Like looking at your program as a whole, splintering off a piece of that, and that thing being for free, that is like, that will help them. What I just showed you right there, that is the first module of my new course, is the Find Your Calling grid. I have a full-on training on it and the worksheet going through it. And so I can give that away for free, but everything else is so, it's going to help somebody really set that foundation. And that's the thing that they will need. That's the next step. So structuring what you're doing that way, if you're on a call with somebody, or even just in the beginning, that's the piece, that you can still add a ton of value for, building your email list as well. And then structuring it right into the next, their course, and then tack on coaching onto that, so
Right.
it's literally a progression, and it's a sequence, and it makes sense, and it's logical next step kind of stuff. So
Right.
when you
Well,
could do-
that's why I have that 5-day challenge that's coming up on the 3rd of January. It's free. It's a challenge. They're going to get me for a whole hour teaching them and showing them. And of course, like you've done and Ron done, everybody does, is if you want the VIP, it's $29 or whatever you do, and that'll give them an extra hour. But that's all. I'm giving all of that for free.
Yeah.
My intention is that when come the 5th day, they sign up.
Mhm.
So I'm really hoping that, because I took the extra like 6 months almost to really get the proper mentoring and training and all of that, I'm hoping that this challenge is a big success, you know, so that I can, like you said, give them this part for free, show them a peek through the door
Mhm.
so that
Right.
they can see what is there and see what's available and how they can do it. And then hopefully they'll sign up for the seminar, which would be the next level. And then from there, you know, to the consulting,
Right.
you
Yep.
know, so that I've in the last 3 months, I've gotten that leveled layering all put into place, you
Awesome.
know, but now I just have to learn how to present it, I guess, because I get them to that point and then they go, no, I can't afford it. And that's it. They stop, you
Yeah.
know, so by going at it in a different approach, like you had showed me, I will see how that works on my next couple of calls.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
wonderful. You're welcome. You feel like this was helpful?
Oh, yes, absolutely. You're always helpful. I
Oh.
miss you.
I miss you too. It was
I
great
wish,
connecting with you again.
I wish I could actually make you one of my mentors, but you guys have that contract, so I
Yeah.
can't do that. And I was like, "Ugh." So yeah, but yeah, definitely. And I promote you with a lot of people. I tell them, oh no, if you need IT, this is the one to go to. So,
It's a lot more than IT, but that's definitely a piece of it.
oh yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Laura. It was great seeing you again.
thank you.
All right.
I'll see you later. God bless.
You too. Bye.